celebration. Have you been having a good time?
Oh, yeah.
All right. We would like to thank everyone who has contributed in any way their time, talents, and, of course, their money to our centennial. Lone Rock, here for 100 years and worthy to celebrate. Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music. Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music. Everyone join in. Celebrate, celebrate, dance to the music. 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 Celebrate. Let's stop at the Chatterbox Cafe, the hub of Lone Rock, and eavesdrop on this last Friday morning's coffee crowd. Some of you will probably remember the Chatterbox as a Maycomber Cafe or the Lone Rock Cafe. We maintain the local newspaper is not needed, as most of the news is known before it could be published, and sometimes before it even happens.
What do you guys mean? That the thing's been canceled? We have to have a pageant.
Jeanette, I heard you, Linda Shea, and the rest of the coffee girls were pretty upset they weren't going to be able to dance in that chorus line they practiced for.
Yes, we were. There were several that were really disappointed. Marge Pearson and June Bierstead, Floy Marlowe, Ida Nicholson, and they wanted to wear those cute little costumes.
Yeah, Mert Hulbert thought that that pageant was in such good hands with Denny here. You know, and I remember back 40, 45, 50, 55 years ago when we had the 3 shows. Remember on the Main Street Lone Rock, Saturday night? Denny was supposed to write a little play, you know, before they had the show. He still hasn't written that one. You want to talk about a perennial case of writer's block? That guy's got it.
Well, I think he's got a case of banker's block. I go over my checkbook pretty close at the end of every month, and God only knows where our money's at.
Well, I guess I can finish cultivating if we're not going to have a pageant. If it's canceled, I'm leaving.
Yeah, and I'm getting ready to start putting up my pioneer sides. You know, Decalitatus and Golden Harvest Pearson. Have you noticed how great their plots are looking this year? Some of my stuff looks a little puny. Hey, you know, when we get done with the fireworks, or actually what they're having the fireworks tonight, if you guys want to run out there with me, and we'll put some pioneer signs in the plots, okay?
Yeah, I bet the Centennial Committee would like to just have Harriet by the throat, you know, the way you let him down.
Yeah.
Well, I would think he'd have a hard time coming to work on Monday morning after all the years of been planning the celebration and counting on a pageant. Well, we have to do something tonight. With the big crowd of people like this coming into town, we're going to end up with the first street riots in Lone Rock. I don't know, maybe somebody better put Sheriff Van Otterloo on alert to get more deputies up here. Committee should have known. You put Harriet in charge, your banker, what's he say? You never get anything for free.
Yeah, he's got that right. Wanted to charge me 18% interest on a home equity loan.
Any more coffee and rolls on Julie and Sherlin? He's celebrating Norwegian Groundhog Day. I never heard of a Norwegian groundhog, have you?
No wonder there's nothing exciting to write about in Lone Rock. Harriet got to write about that. And what's Norwegian Groundhog Day anyway?
I don't know, but the people in Fenton are sure going to rub this in. Lone Rock has all these big plans and advertises this pageant. Nothing happens.
Well, you know something, talking about the problem sure never settles anything. Roseanne, do you have maybe one of the old books that we can check and get some good ideas? Maybe we can figure out something from this book.
Yeah, the committee brought them in to sell before they have to discount. They were next to Old Bay Crocker, and I'm lucky I found them because Gary buries everything under something. Well, where do we start?
You can't get this done before tonight.
Why not? We have lots of good talent here in Lone Rock. We have a lot of excellent singers. They shouldn't have to practice over once or twice. Kitty can lead them. And for actors, I've seen and heard some of the bull that goes around it.
Kitty can't help out. She's going to be gone that week.
Well, we'll get Kent Madison. He does a good job at the barber shoppers.
Yeah, he does, but I think we're going to have to take him once a week so he doesn't shoot himself in the leg. Is that right?
Well, time sure is a-fleeting. Maybe we should get started.
Well, I would suppose we should start with the first people that were here. For without them, we wouldn't be doing this at all. Yeah, I suppose so. Let's go to the page with the first settlers. Yeah, here it is. This is what it says.
At the close of the Civil War, civilian life seemed a bliss relief. But after a few months of rest, the men began to look for new adventures, new worlds to conquer. They turned west to seek unsettled farmlands. They traveled slowly by ox teams, carrying few provisions in a wagon, but always heading westward. Heading to the endless prairie land of northwestern Iowa, unbroken land except for river valleys and a few wild groves. Few settlers had ventured this far west. Only scattered outposts of brave pioneers were attempting to tame this wilderness. Without roads, these settlers blindly tracked over the vast flatlands in search of a suitable place to homestead. Some of these early settlers included the Anguses, Bates, Biersteds, Battersons, Camerons, Christiansens, Cottons, Alvages, Fishers, Gross, Hannahs, Hawks, Heaters, Hollisters, Householders, Hutchinsons, Jensens, Johannessens, Krauses, Madisons, Marlows, Murrays, Nymans, Pettits, Raths, Schmidts, Sigabars, Thompsons, and Worthingtons. Just think of what the early settlers must have went through. Only a few sod houses dotting the prairie. The work was backbreaking, and they endured many hardships.
get out, we have to walk the cornfield. And the corn's pretty tall this year. It's pretty glad it's tall. More than the light it's supposed to. It's tall by your knees. And farming is the most important because that's our only income anymore.
Okay, you know, someday we're going to have a fine farm here someday.
Yeah. But I better let you go. I'll leave the water here for you to drink. Well, have a fun time out in the field. Yeah, it came out of the creek.
I'd trade in my tractor, even if I had to drive a John Deere for that plow.
I don't think I'd want to trade places with his wife either.
Well, we got started. Now, where do we go? You know, we should probably see why the rock got moved and how come it didn't stay in its original place. To me, it would have made more sense to have moved the town to where the rock was instead of vice versa.
I've always thought the same thing. Hey, I found that page here under settlement and moving settlement. I'll read it and you can jot it down.
A little settlement established itself by a boulder, and Miss Lily Thompson came up with the name of Lone Rock. The settlement consisted of a store, creamery, post office, and a farmhouse. In 1899, Chicago Northwestern built a rail line from Burt to Fox Lake. It seemed only reasonable for Lone Rock to move to the railroad. The settlement moved 2 miles south, taking the name and leaving the boulder behind. Lots were sold in early spring for a bank, creamery, lumber company, drugstore, general store, livestock dealer, and several dwellings. By early fall, the trains were operating, linking Lone Rock to the outside world. I've been working on the railroad all the livelong day. I've been working on the railroad just to pass the time away. Can't you hear the whistle blowing? Rise up so early in the morn. shouting, Dinah, blow your horn. Dinah, won't you blow, Dinah, won't you blow, Dinah, won't you blow your horn, your horn. Dinah, won't you blow, Dinah, won't you blow, Dinah, won't you blow your horn. Someone's in the kitchen, let's
They moved the settlement south. I bet you it's them railroad fellers that had any clue that several years later we were going to move the rock down here. When they started laying tracks, when they went west of Berg, they'd have been a little further north. They'd have headed right out there to where that rock used to be, where it got put it, where it ought to be maybe. And by golly, we'd have never had to move it down.
Well, the tracks are all gone now, but it sure is good to have the depot here. Lone Rock should be really proud of all the good things they have in their depot.
You're right, Bill.
They should be. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, look here. In 1910, there was a big fire in Lone Rock that destroyed half of the west side of Main Street.
God, if that happened today, there sure wouldn't be much left. And you know something, I rather doubt that they'd ever rebuild it.
You know, I think I remember hearing about that fire. In fact, I think Julian Sherman told me he put that thing out single-handedly. You know how Julian Sherman spreads the story, so what does it really say in the book about it?
On Wednesday night, March 23rd, 1910, the citizens of Lone Rock were rudely awakened, finding the west side of Main Street was on fire. The fire started in the drugstore, and before it could be extinguished, it burnt the drugstore, the pool hall, the meat market, and the millinery store. Some of the goods were saved, but the buildings were a total loss. There was considerable speculation as to the cause of the fire, but the cause was never determined.
Farm Bureau Brace said it wasn't with him. Well, when there are losses like that, I think Brace would just as soon say it was Dakin or Pearson. Yeah, I bet so.
Oh, you guys pipe down over here. I'm still looking through this book, and it says there was a bank robbery, too. Should we get this in the production?
Well, we better do something about the bank robbery. The old safe is still in the bank with the big hole in it.
I hope you aren't thinking about bringing that safe up here on this stage.
Well, they moved the rock to town. Surely you ought to be able to move a safe, and you big, burly guys ought to be able to do this, you big stud.
What time do you want it done at?
Midsummer 1924, late in the evening, while the town was peaceful asleep, a dynamite blast was heard. Mr. Cotton awoke and knew the bank was being robbed. He went to the phone, which was dead, as the robbers had cut all the wires leading to the telephone office. Mr. Cotton rode out into the country to notify the sheriff. 5 charges of dynamite were required to get the money. Pat Carroll and his gang secured $15,000 in cash and 14,000 in Liberty bonds. They were later caught, but none of the funds were ever recovered. Bank was transacting business as usual at 9 o'clock the next morning.
You know, 1924 was a long time ago. I wonder how much money they kept in the bank back then.
Probably about as much as Gary keeps on the table over there every morning for coffee.
Well, enough about this bank stuff. We need to get something in here about baseball. You know, Central brought the Diamondback and to Lone Rock, and the baseball was a big part of Lone Rock's history.
Baseball was an important part of Lone Rock, and perhaps it gained its greatest fame in this sport. The first recorded athletic event in Lone Rock was a baseball game that took place on August 27, 1902, between Lone Rock and its rival Burt. Burt won the game 14-13 in extra innings. The lineup for Lone Rock was Moore, Munch, Lindsay, Bicker, Cotton, Hawk, Etheridge, and Householder. The lineup for Burt was Payne, Goodwin, Allen, Toothman, Chesney, Sigsby, Shape, Getzel, and McDonald. Few games were recorded from then on, but Burt has had several opponents from 1902 on. The Golden 20s have generally been acclaimed as the greatest years in sports, and for Lone Rock that was no different. It was during the years of 1925 and 1926 that Lone Rock has biggest claim to fame, the Negro baseball teams. Our Centennial King, Don Blanchard, is probably known as one of the best ball players to come out of Lone Rock. He played professionally at the AAA level for the St. Paul Saints.
to have a ball diamond here at Lone Rock again.
Well, I heard it was going to have lights so they could play late-night games.
Just like the Field of Dreams.
Well, we better keep going so we can get this finished.
Yeah, Larry's home tonight, and I suppose he's there waiting for supper. I've been out playing with the girls all week, and he's getting a little tired of scrambled eggs.
We have to put something in about the school, as this pageant was supposed to be held on the old school grounds.
Did you see the picture that Jane Johansson painted of the school? You know, we're really fortunate to have somebody with such talent in our community.
Yes, I looked at it a while ago. It sure brings back a lot of memories of school days.
Well, we better be going, and we aren't going to get this pulled off and save Harriet's neck. Let's write this down about the school.
Rural School, done in the Prairie. And Lone Rock, seeing the need for a school, met on March 31st, 1904, to petition that an independent school district be established in the city of Lone Rock. The petition was granted, and an election was held with a vote of 57 to 25 in favor of the new district. The grounds were purchased for $300, and a brick building was built for the whopping cost of $6,000. September 3rd, 1905 was the first day of school for the Lone Rock district. It started out with the 1st through 8th grade school, then expanded to 10th grade. And in 1925, graduated its first 12th grade class. In 1926, a $25,000 addition was added, including a gym, then the largest in the county. In 1954, Lone Rock, along with Benton and Seneca, joined the Central School District. Grades kindergarten through 3rd continued in Lone Rock until 1977. The school buildings and the grounds were then purchased by the city. The school building was used for community functions, and many of those great community plays were held in the gym. But in 1987, due to the condition of the building, it was torn down, and the grounds became the park, and the shelter house was built in place of the school.
Good morning, Zach. Hi, Tessa. How are you? Good. Can you lead us in the pledge this morning? Everyone rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Culberson, will you please take this stool? And you also can wear the hat. And hopefully your behavior will improve. Let's review then what we talked about yesterday. In geography, we talked about the shape of the earth. What is the shape of the earth?
Ah, it's round.
Can you prove it's round?
Okay, it's clear. I don't want to argue.
That will be enough of that. We also have a question from our biology unit. How many sexes are there, and can you name them?
Well, I know this. There's 3. The boy sex, the girl sex, and the insect.
Very good. Mr. Cotton, do you have yesterday's math assignment done?
Yes, right here in my book, Mr. Chief. Right? No, that isn't it. Here.
Are you sure you have it?
I guess I told Mr. Chief.
Did you do it?
Yes, I did on it.
Mr. Cotton, that does not show much character or responsibility for your work. I'll see you after school, and we'll see how much added work you're going to do. Okay.
Mr. G, my mouth got out.
coffee. There's something wrong with it.
I didn't make it. Are you guys about done putting this thing together? A corn shelling crew is coming in, and the ladies' card club wants big 2 tables, and Billy wants me to go home and mow for 4 hours, and I've got to get out of here.
Yeah, we know, Roseanne. Billy's going to get you there first, and then you can come to the cafe. You know, I suppose we should kind of wrap this up. And I really think we should have something about the men that served our country and a way to salute them.
Freedom, the foundation on which our country was built. Freedom to work, freedom to worship, and to build on a dream. Many from Lone Rock left their families and fought for the value of freedom. Some returned, and some did not. Would everyone here tonight who has served in the military please stand and let us show our appreciation for your service.
think you can pull this off?
Well, we certainly have to, because if we don't, Lone Rock is going to be the laughing stock of the county.
Well, before we divide the Lone Rock telephone book into thirds, I'm going to go home and change my clothes. We'll start calling for singers and actors. Plan for the first and only practice at 2:30.
Well, I gotta see this. A pageant with only one practice. Hey, never, and I mean never, positively, never, ever, ever underestimate the power of those women.
Webster's definition of a rock is a large mass of stone or stony material, a natural deposit of sand, earth, or clay, a firm or immovable defense. We define Lone Rock, the rock, as a boulder on the prairie with a history of its own. It served as a landmark for early settlers on the trails from Fort Dodge through Algona to Armstrong, Esterville, and Spirit Lake. A podium for Captain Ingham as he addressed his men and sold it to be used as a foundation at one time, and later moved to the town on which the town was named after. Lone Rock, the town. A small population, but large in spirit. Friendship is just not a word here. It's a way of life. A community that's proud of its accomplishments and remains solid as its namesake. Lone Rock, here for 100 years and many more. And at this time, I just received notice that after seeing our first pageant, that Dennis Harriet worked hard and finally came up with a poem that he stole from somebody to finish his show. I think. Here he comes.
Our little town. I'd like to live in our little town where the trees meet across the street, where you wave your hand and say hello to everyone you meet. I like to stand for a moment outside the grocery store and listen to the friendly gossip of the folks that live next door. For life is interwoven with friends we learn to know, and we hear the joys and sorrows as we daily come and go. So I like to live in our little town. I care no more to roam. For every house in our little town is more than a house, it's home. Now our Lone Rock song.
I'd just like to thank you all for coming tonight. This is the last performance. And I'm still on my feet. Thank you all.